give it the beans here. So let's get down. It even lets you get in the first gear. With the sport exhaust, it sounds absolutely insane. Doesn't get much better than that, guys.
Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the 2024 Porsche 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. And I'm going to tell you why this is one of the best sports car convertibles on the market today. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after, or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. So let's talk about this specific car, because as you guys know, all Porsches come with a laundry list of customizable options. Now, this particular car, brand new, starts at $97,300 MSRP. But this particular example, with all of its options, also including the destination and handling charge, is a whopping $119,450. So, I mean, yeah, you're talking about over 20 grand in options. So, but that's quite typical of Porsches, right? There's a lot of things you can customize. So let's go right into the design. I really like the 718, both the Cayman and the Boxster. And if you guys haven't already checked out, be sure to look at our 718 Cayman GT4 review on the channel. We did that. That car was a blast to drive, pretty much a race car for the street. This car here, despite being a convertible, is very, very close, not only in performance, but capability, with much more of a street-oriented performance behind it. So let's go ahead and talk about the exterior. So this particular car is painted in Guards Red. Classic Porsche color, looks amazing in person, and it has a really interior special color that we'll get to shortly here. But up front, I really like the design. Down below, really good accents. This car, again, is spec'd with things like adaptive cruise control, so you'll notice this huge radar down front, and it also has things like parking sensors, so you'll see those in the front fascia as well. But one thing that this particular owner did, and if you're truly a Porsche geek or you have this car, you might notice it, is they actually added in additional grading down below. And part of that was because I guess it's a problem with, stones and like rocks flying up and hitting the radiators, even damaging them on these cars. So that was added in, and yes, that wasn't how the car came spec. But outside of that, man, I really, really like the way this car looks. Awesome headlight design. This does have the LED headlights with a PDLS, so Porsche Dynamic Lighting System. So adaptive lighting, looks really good, super bright at night. As we make our way to the side of the car though, you're gonna see, the classic, hey, Porsche's got the, fuel tank up here on the right side of the vehicle. Let's go right into the wheel and tire package too, because this car also has a staggered wheel and tire setup. So a little bit skinnier wheels up front with fat, meatier wheels in the back. So they're 20-inch wheels in size with meaty 235, 35 ZR20 tires. These are Pirelli P Zero, so serious rubber. But I really like the wheels that were optioned on this car. A classic 5-spoke design with this kind of like dark silver finish. It looks really, really classy. Behind that, you're gonna notice the awesome brake package, right? So 6-piston, huge calipers up front, made it to cross-drilled rotors, which are really, really big. So the braking performance on this car is gonna be serious. Can't wait to test that out during the drive. But as you make your way to the side, right, again, I think the side profile in this car is really, really good. If you go back maybe 1, even 2 generations of the Boxster, I thought the proportions were a little awkward, but on this latest 718 version, I think they nailed it, right? It looks really, really good. On the side, this car does have options like the power folding mirrors, LED turn signals, and again, we'll get to the power top. We'll show how that opens and operates, but it's super fast, and I think it's gonna be fun to drive it with both the top up and the top down. Also, the car has the entry system, so it's super easy to get in and out of. All you need is the Porsche key fob, which again, kind of looks like a Porsche. You like how they've shaped it, so really nice touch with the key fob. But then you get to the side, you got these intakes, which are completely functional. And then as we get to the rear tires, they're still 20 inches in size, but they're a much wider 265 35 ZR20 Pirelli P0 on the rear. And in the back, you still get cross-drilled rotors, made it to a 2-piston caliper. And both of them say Porsche, so keeping it simple, looks really, really classic and good. And as we make our way to the rear of this car, I think, again, this is a really, really good angle. They have these awesome tail lights in the back, and they're kind of this like just clear design. I really like what they did there. Very aggressive, full LEDs. You also have the Chimsel brake lamp up here on the rear trunk. So that's really, really nice. And then the spoiler, which is really cool too. So it's an active spoiler. It'll automatically go up at a certain speed, but there's also a button inside that you push to activate it. So if you see people just driving around town and the spoiler's ejected up, that's because they're trying to show off and they push the button, right? Okay, I'd probably do that too because it looks really good. But I really like what Porsche did to the rear of the 718. You know, spelled out the name Porsche right on the brake light there in the middle. Now, the owner on this car actually opted for just the 718 badging. They didn't go GTS, they didn't go GTS 4.0, and you might have noticed that there was nothing on the side of the car as well. You can, again, choose exactly how you want it to look. I kind of like that because it's a little bit sleeper, so most people are gonna just think that this is a normal Boxster until they look down low and they see these massive black chrome exhaust finishers, which are a signature element of the GTS series of Boxsters. Made it to a really aggressive rear diffuser. Again, I think the rear end of this car means business. So the exterior is really nice on this car, but let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, guys, here we are inside the 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. It's a really, really nice place to be. There's so many premium touch points. Now, we talked about on the exterior how this car is spec'd in Guards Red, which looks awesome. It has the black top, but inside, I think this is where the owner nailed the specification for this car because it's actually really rare. So to pair up with that awesome red on the exterior, they went with a two-tone natural leather interior. Now, with this car being a GTS, typically these cars have a lot of what Porsche calls race text. That's essentially like Alcantara or suede material. It'll usually be here on the door linings, even on the seats. Now, the owner option to delete that on this, that's a spec that you can do, and replace it with a full leather interior. So it's a much more kind of mature premium option, but I think it looks awesome. And what they did is a two-tone interior. So essentially the top of the door linings, the dash, and even the steering wheel are in an espresso color material. So it's like a dark brown, but it looks super premium, looks so good. You know, actually at first glance, I thought it was black, but then when you really get up on it, you notice it's like this dark chocolate color, and it looks freaking awesome. Now, down below on the dash, the lower part of the door panels, and obviously the seats, that's what they call a cognac material. So just think of it as like a very dark beige color, but that combined with the espresso, and then all of the cognac contrast stitching throughout. So on the dash, down to the center console, on the steering wheel, on the door linings. I mean, this just looks and feels like $1 million, guys. It's super, super premium inside. But let's get back to these seats because they are awesome. So these are Porsche's power sports seats. So these are the 14-way power seats. Now I know they have an 18-way power seat, which gives you a little bit more adjustability up here on the shoulders. But you know, honestly, I think this is a great combination. There's plenty of adjustability and they feel ultra comfortable inside. One of the things the owner also optioned on this car was the Porsche crest into the headrest. I think that's a must. Like, it just tops off the interior, reminds you what you're driving. I mean, of course, you got a great looking Porsche crest right here on the steering wheel, but to have it on the seats really, really looks good. And speaking of the steering wheel, the owner also opted for the premium package on this car. And that gives you a few features like the power folding mirrors, the heated multi-function steering wheel, and also the lighting package. So there's some great options there. But as I look at this steering wheel, one thing that, again, Porsche does really well is they make the perfect size steering wheel. Like sometimes steering wheels can either be too big or too small or too thin or too chunky. Porsche steering wheels are spot on. It's the perfect size. It's a very small diameter, but it fits in your hand. It's molded to your hand perfectly. And it's just got these like awesome touch points, like this billet aluminum where you can like see the exposed screws. That looks really awesome. But yet again, it has modern functionality to answer phone calls, change the volume, even adjust things like your adaptive cruise and safety functions. But one of the other things that I really like, and we'll talk more about this during the drive part, is this multi-function drive mode switch. So again, we'll go through that through the drive part, but that is really, really nice. Now, as I look straight ahead, in typical Porsche fashion, you have the RPM gauge right in the front, right in the center of the gauge cluster, and it has the model designation, so it says GTS. Written all the way to 9,000 RPM, but you know, RPM's like just under 8,000 in this particular spec car. Again, if you haven't seen our Cayman GT4 video, check that out because that car screams to 8,100 RPM. But you still get to the left of that, get a 200 mile an hour speedometer, and off to the right, you get a very small digital cluster, which is customizable by this switch on the steering wheel, and it gives you things like you know, performance metrics, you know, your trip meter, your navigation, things like that. So that's really, really nice. And like all Porsches, still, they have the ignition off to the left. Now, you still, you know, need a key fob to get in and out of the vehicle, but there's essentially a dongle that's like built in. And so as long as you got the key fob on you, over here on the left, you just turn it on to turn on the vehicle and the car starts up. Again, as I look at the center console here, there's really good technology in this car. So this car does come equipped with CarPlay capability. I know in this particular option, they didn't opt for navigation, so that's something you can like piecemeal and choose through all the options that Porsche offers. And this car honestly still comes with a CD player. I don't have any CDs in it. You let us know down in the comments below. Are you guys still listening to CDs? And what's interesting is below that where it says Porsche, it's got this little like door, and like if you lift it up, you'll find that there's actually two like SD card slots down there. So I'm guessing you could load maybe updated maps or like music on there, but again, I don't really use SD cards anymore either. So as I look down below, it's kind of basic in its HVAC settings, so there actually isn't all these auto settings. You kind of have to manually adjust the temperature, the fan speed, but you can seek the dual climate zone, which is nice. This car is also equipped with heated seats for the driver and passenger, and those are three-way heated seats, so that's also a nice function. As I look back, you got the PDK transmission. Hold on that. We'll come back to that during the drive. And in this center area is where Porsche always puts kind of like all these buttons to adjust the dynamics on the car. So, you know, you've got things like your damper button here, traction control. You even have a button to raise and lift you know, that rear spoiler. We talked about that on the exterior. You also have the sports exhaust button. That's not always there, right? But when this car is optioned with it, you get this extra button, and it has the cool, you know, dual exhaust icon, so you know exactly what you're pushing. You also get idle stop off, so that's really nice. And then again, with this being a Boxster, you got two buttons here to both open and close the roof, and we'll show you how that works in B-roll. But it's really, really fast, and it's not like you got to get up here and, you know, pull switches and levers. Like, it does everything power, does everything for you, and it's super fast. So you really do get the best of both worlds, because, you know, we'll talk about it during the drive, but with this up and closed, it's really quiet and it's really serene. You lower it down and all of a sudden you get not only the wind noise, but you get that awesome exhaust noise as well. Ironically, the owner, I don't think they're ever going to smoke in this car, but they do have a smoking package, which is actually an option on the Porsche here. And then you get this little center armrest where, you know, you've got a USB port in here and probably a place to hold your phone. Now, with this being a mid-engine car and being like based off the Cayman and Boxster, there's no back seats, so it's just two. You and your date, you and your friend, that's who's rolling in this thing. There's two more things actually. Give me a sec here. So this car is also, with it being a GTS, it comes with what Porsche calls the Sport Chrono package. So that gives you the Sport Plus driving mode, the launch control, and it gives you this clock. You know, it's like a lap timer at the top. And it looks awesome, but it's functional as well. So kudos to them. We'll also show you how the cup holders work out. We'll do it in B-roll. They're kind of quirky. They're not very big. The owner actually had to buy a special cup to fit the cup holders in here, so that's kind of a unique thing. And then lastly, but not least, this is the single most expensive option on the car, and it's the audio system. So it is almost $4,700, guys. It's the Burmester 12 speaker, 821 watt premium audio system, and it sounds incredible. It is amazing, guys. Like, the fact that there's 12 speakers in this small cockpit alone is amazing, but the sound, the bass, the performance that you get out of it, it's just awesome. And you get that same fidelity even with the top down. It's amazing. So with that, I think we've covered just about everything on the interior. So let's talk about the cargo space. So here we have the front popped open on the 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. And there's a lot of space actually down here. We'll kind of show you in B-roll what it looks in here. But the owner also opted for a Porsche cargo tray that fits inside perfectly. But honestly, I think you could get like a mid-size, even a hard shell suitcase. Like if it's turned on its side, you could just plop it right down in there and you still got space in the trunk. So that's the cool thing about this car is you literally have a frunk up front and then you still get trunk space in the back. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk next. So here is the rear trunk of the 718 Boxster. And again, the owner got a special kind of cargo tray that fits in. We'll show you in B-roll. Looks really nice. It actually has like a Boxster etched into the plastic, and it says Porsche. So even though it's like a rear cargo tray, it's really, really high quality. There's definitely not as much space here in the trunk as there was in the front. But again, if you had like some soft backpacks or like a duffel bag, something like that, it'll easily fit in here. So again, you get a lot of cargo capacity in a really high performance sports car. So that to me is a great combination. And what's cool is you can look is because the engine is right back here, again, with this being a mid-engine vehicle, there's easy access to change the oil, and it also looks like even to change the radiator fluid and things like that. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain, because the one thing, admittedly, I wish you could actually see what this awesome engine looks like, but you can't. It's not actually exposed at all. So let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. Now, in this 718 Boxster GTS 4.0, it has that awesome, naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6 engine. Man, it's gonna scream. It produces 394 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds of torque. Now, normally it comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission, but this owner opted for the optional 7-speed dual clutch or PDK transmission. So rear-wheel drive only, and I'm sure this baby sings. So there's only one way to test that out, which is to get behind the wheel. So up next, let's go ahead and hop inside for the drive.
All right, guys, here we are inside the 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. It's a beautiful day out. I got the top down, but I'm fearful that you won't be able to hear me with the top down and the windows down and all that. We're gonna do a little bit of that in the drive portion, just so hopefully you can hear the exhaust sound. But for the drive, I'm gonna go ahead and put the roof up, put the windows up, so you can actually hear me talk and give my impressions. So, but first and foremost, what I really wanted you to hear, like I said, was the exhaust. So, I have the key fob in my possession. You just grab this little knob off to the side, foot on the brake, and turn. And then you get that awesome startup exhaust sound on this car. It sounds so good. So with that, I'll go ahead and grab the seatbelt. They're just black on this car. Of course, you can always option for that. Porsche usually charges you almost $500 though to change the color of a seatbelt. So I'm okay with black in this case. What I'm gonna do now is put up the roof. And so again, as we showed you on the interior and B-roll, it's just a pull of this button here. So I hold that down, roof starts to come up over my head. There we go. Latches itself in place, and if I keep holding down, both the driver and the passenger side window also went up. So it's like a one action, it does everything for you. So that's really, really nice. man, I really kind of want a convertible now. So that's really, really good. So what we'll do through the drive route is we'll talk about the drive mode, what it does to the suspension, the steering, the throttle response, and of course even the exhaust sounds. But I want to go on one of my kind of favorite driving roads. So let me pause here, and then you'll see me when we get back out onto that drive road. So driving around with the top down and the windows down. Again, I'm sure you guys are getting a lot of road noise, but man, it is just so awesome to be in a sports car convertible. And right now I'm in the Sport Plus driving mode, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it the beans here. So let's get down. It even lets you get in the first gear. With the sport exhaust, it sounds absolutely insane. Doesn't get much better than that, guys. All right, so we're driving, we got the top down, but we got the windows up. And one cool thing to point out is the owner of this car actually got this special glass partition that sits in between the rollover loops there. And normally I guess that's just like a mesh piece that comes with the car, but he actually found this special part. I think it was actually bought from a place in Germany and shipped here, had it installed, and that not only gives it a more premium look, but I guess it actually helps with the wind and road noise while driving as well. So that's a pretty cool feature here. But yeah, this car just sounds amazing. Roof up or top down, but driving around in Sport Plus when the sport exhaust is on and it's at full sing, it sounds almost as good as the GT4. I mean, it really does. I mean, again, you know, principally the same engine, even though it's detuned a little bit, but the sounds that you get from it are amazing. So we'll go ahead and do a quick rip here so you can hear it for yourself. All right, guys, ready? Here we go. Yeah, and that's awesome because it actually held the gear, so that was my fault, you know, not shifting up, but that shows you that the PDK is seriously like a race transmission because it'll let you bang off the rev limiter, right? A lot of times the transmissions will basically make you, you know, it'll automatically upshift for you. This clearly doesn't do that, so that's a pretty cool feature. All right, guys, here we are. I got the top up, the windows up, and we're gonna go for a drive in this thing on some pretty awesome drive roads. I don't know if you can see this, a purple Lambo driving by just now. That was a Huracan that looked really sweet. But let's see what this 718 Boxster GTS has up here in the twisty bit. So I'm actually gonna start in normal mode. So in normal mode, I'm gonna go into drive, normal drive, and let it do its thing. And I can tell you right off the bat that, you know, Porsche has awesome chassis tuning. Combine that with great ergonomics, this, you know, perfect size steering wheel, and this car is just an animal. It's so direct, it's so sharp. Again, both the Cayman and the Boxster, these are some of the best driving sports cars in the market today. But here, just driving in normal mode and drive mode, you can see it's kind of flogging along, you know, 1500 RPM in 6th gear. But it's relatively quiet. You do get a little bit of road noise from the tires themselves, but surprisingly, with the roof up and the windows up, it's actually really quiet in here. Like the NVH, the wind noise is really good. Like you wouldn't expect this actually from a convertible. You'd be expecting all kinds of noise above your head coming from behind you, but that simply isn't the case. Like it is a really quiet place to be. So definitely really good job there. What we're going to try though here is to actually try out the different drive modes. So what's cool is right here on the steering wheel is this shifter, and now you even notice that, you know, the car does come with idle stop. Obviously that'll shut off on the more aggressive sport mode and sport plus mode, but it's pretty instantaneous, comes right back on. So let's go ahead and turn here. And again, driving in normal mode, this car is really good, really easy to drive. So if I go into sport mode though, all you have to do is turn this dial here really quick. So you turn it, and it goes into sport, and instantly what you notice is things get a little bit firmer. Automatically the active exhaust turned on, the idle stop turned off, the steering got a little bit heavier, and you can notice that the throttle response, there's that exhaust already, just got a little bit sharper. So just that little change there seemed to make a pretty big difference. But let's go all in and top it off with Sport Plus. So another twist of the dial. And now what that did is that turned on the damper light here. So now it is, wow, it's noticeably a lot stiffer. It's not uncomfortable, but I'm feeling every bump and undulation in the road right now. Also, the exhaust sounds even louder. The steering got even heavier, and yeah, the throttle response is really, really good. Now, with all of those drive modes, what you can do is change into a manual shifting mode with this PDK. It's a 7-speed dual clutch automatic, and it's definitely one of the best transmissions in the business. It's whether you're leaving it in normal drive mode for it to change its gears on its own, or you're trying to change it for it, it's super responsive and fast. The paddle shifters are also a really, really nice size. So just overall, again, very, very good ergonomics. So I'm in third gear right now on a click. You can bring it down to fourth, kind of quiet things up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the transmission, every little, pull of the paddle is instantaneous in changing the gears. And I feel like there's so many qualities of this car that feel that way. Like the steering and everything is just so sharp. It's really, really good. So here we go. Obviously, I got a couple cars in front of me here, but I'm gonna let you hear that exhaust. We're gonna hit some twisty bits, and you can really see some of the handling. And we'll even just stomp on the brakes too to see how those hold up as well. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of distance here, but these are some really twisty roads, which I think are absolutely, made for a car like this. So I'm gonna switch down, and the cool thing is it'll even let you switch down into first gear. So here we go. You guys ready? I'm already up to the cars in front of me again, but that was a super tight turn, and it has so much mechanical grip. It's amazing, right? It is. But again, I think a lot of that is the fact that it's a mid-engine car. The chassis is so well balanced, the weight distribution, everything, that it just gives you this amazing amount of mechanical grip. So handling turns like that is no problem in the Boxster. And a lot of times, again, when you get a convertible, you lose a lot of body rigidity, right? The car gets a little wobbly, all these things. Not that in this car, not at all. So here we go. We're gonna blast again. We're starting in first gear. You guys ready? This car is so fast. It sounds so good. It is awesome. It is awesome. And again, I'm doing this with the top up. Like, you drive like this with the top down and you hear everything. And I mean, with the sport exhaust on, there's not many cars that sound better than this. So, in the age of turbocharged vehicles, still having a naturally aspirated, high revving engine is just a thing of glory, right? So here we go. Another pass by here, just kind of powering through this turn, and it's just so much grip. And those brakes we were talking about, holy man, these brakes will stop on a dime, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, carbon ceramic brakes are amazing, but with some cross-drilled rotors, some massive pistons, and just great brake tuning and great brake pedal feel too, it just gives you so much confidence knowing that you can stop on a dime. So yeah, I mean, this car is really good. Again, I really enjoyed driving the Cayman GT4, but if you wanted something that gave you the open road feel with the convertible top, and you wanted just something with a little bit more daily driving comfort, this might be the perfect Porsche car for you. So let us know down in the comments if you guys enjoy this. Let us know if you want to see other P cars on the channel. We're happy to bring it. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this drive. But okay, who am I kidding? One more blast. Ready, first gear, here we go. All right, guys, thanks. Having too much fun. We'll see see you.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of the 2024 Porsche 718 Boxster GTS 4.0? Now, of course, it's quite the step up from a regular Boxster S, and obviously it's not as crazy as something like a Cayman GT4, but I think the combination of performance, that exhaust sound, honestly, that PDK transmission is absolutely fantastic. It's super fast, super responsive. I mean, knowing me, I'd probably still go for the manual transmission. I just love the way Porsche's manuals feel. But again, in everyday traffic, and if you want the extra fuel efficiency, going with the PDK is not wrong in this case. That combined with just being a Boxster and having that open car experience, I mean, it is totally serene. And combined with that amazing sound system, it's absolute driving bliss. So let us know down in the comments below, are you going Boxster S? Are you going GTS, GTS 4.0? Are you saying you want the convertible, or are you going Cayman, you want to go coupe? And are you going all the way up to something like GT4? So again, be sure to check out that video as well. And again, for all of you that have joined us so far and subscribed, thank you so much. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And we'll see you at the next episode.